Well, I'm back, and it is time for my third dram of the day. It's almost noon. I had Johnny Walker red wine cask, bottled at 40% first to start with. Second of all, I had the blackened whiskey, the Metallica collaboration, where Metallica music was played to shake up the barrels that were aging, the dark brandy barrels that were aging. And so the music was making the wood of the barrels shake. And so that, in theory at least, caused the whiskey to go in and out of the wood more and impart more of the wood flavors to the, or impart more of the flavors from the previous contents of the casks to the whiskey that was maturing in it. Now for my third little trick. I have another sample from Whiskey Jason. This one is the GlenAllachie 2005 to 2018, so I'm imagining that it was distilled in 2005, and it was bottled in distilled in 2005 and bottled in 2018. I'm guessing. And it's a cask number 16098. Very specific. 16098. And it was a bourbon barrel. Bottled at 60.2%. 60.2%. That's too much. At least for me. And it says here whiskey base 127210. So this is a very special one. I have a GlenAllachie 12. I have the bottle here, but I have not opened it yet. That's the one that Ralphie Mitchell chose to be his whiskey of the year, his most recent whiskey of the year. But I will get to that in due course. Now we have this sample of cask number 16098, bourbon barrel GlenAllachie at 60.2%. Okay, here we go. This promises to be a viscous little sucker. See, we got the little bubbles around the edge. A sure sign of high alcohol by volume content. Yeah. Sip of water first. This is one where you'll be looking for legs. GlenAllachie is a Speyside whiskey, from what I understand. I've never had any, but they tell me it's really good. There are other expressions of GlenAllachie at the liquor store. I think there's a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old. I have not jumped at those yet. That's the trouble. There are so many whiskeys that it's impossible to do them all. It's impossible to acquire them all. They all cost money. That's why samples like this are nice, but you find yourself tasting something and liking it a lot and wishing you had a whole bottle. And in many cases, it's a whiskey that you can't get anywhere near where you live. And that's just the way it is, I suppose. This is a Jason Whiskey Wise glass. And I don't know if you can see that. I could give you a close-up. But those droplets are slowly forming and slow to drop down. And when they do, they just kind of ooze down the glass slowly. Look at those. Wow. Nose. Mmm. These are classic ex-bourbon notes of caramel. It's malty, quite malty, and caramel. Quite malty, caramel. Malty, most of all malty. Even, oh wow, what is that? Extremely malty. As carried by that alcohol content. 60.2 is no slouch. It's burning my nose hairs right out. But it is carrying with it a very malty vanilla-y experience. Malty vanilla caramel. Nice. Very, very nice. That is superb. Jason, thank you. What a nose. It's got that cereal nose, the malt, powerful malt. And the classic notes of vanilla and caramel, but mostly that cereal malty. This is probably the maltiest whiskey I've ever nosed. It's like Ovaltine on steroids. Wow. That is super. It's going to get rid of my nose hairs forever. I will not have to pluck anymore. Not that I do it very often. Do you think someone who looks like me has any vanity? Yeah. Oh, lovely, lovely nose. I'm liking this. It's got so much. There's even a hint of, just a tiny, tiny, tiny little hint of black licorice right in there. Tiny little bit, and only on the left nostril too. That is so nice. I'm going to enjoy this dram. One whole bunch. And you know what's funny? I still have 10 more samples from Whiskey Jason. I'm only halfway through. And how long have I had this? March, April, May, June, July. 4 months. Does that mean it's going to take me another 4 months to get through the rest of them? I hope not. But at the same time, I'm not in a rush. I saw somebody who had a lot of samples say that he's going to have to step up his game and do them more often and do them faster. No, take your time. You got these samples to enjoy them, not just to belt them down. I know there are a lot of whiskeys in the world, and I know that I'm backlogged almost a year with the full bottles that I have in my possession that I have not tried yet. And that doesn't matter. You take your time. I like this. I like this nose a lot. Jason, this is a special one. This is a special barrel. And that's why it was bottled as such, I'm pretty sure. And it's also my first GlenAllachie, so this is one way to get into a brand or to experience a distillery for the first time with a very special bottling. Let's taste it. Very, very small sip. Ooh. And just my first sip. Ah, what is that? I'm getting a maltiness. And surprisingly, no burn. Let me have some water. But that was an extremely small sip. 62%. Wow. Now I'm getting something grassy. Grassy, heathery. Grassy and kind of like corn husks. But this is a single malt, so I don't know where that grassiness is coming from. Oh, wait. Now I'm getting the malt again. Delicious. Malt, and there's something almost earthy about it. But light earthy, not dark earthy, if that makes any sense. It's like clay. There's a little bit of a clayy note to it. Well, at least that's what I'm experiencing. Oh, that'll clean out your sinuses. Wow. All the better to appreciate the nose. Yeah, there is something grassy and earthy to it, but I can't really pinpoint it. And if I dig deeper, there's that maltiness again. Wow. Mm. Oh. That is a fine malty. Slightly spicy. White peppery, but slightly malty. A little bit of vanilla, a little bit of caramel, but mostly malty. And it sticks to my tongue, it sticks to the sides of my tongue, it sticks to the roof of my mouth, it coats everything. And it fades. It fades. I'd say it's a minimum finish, not excessively long. I wonder what would happen if I just added a tiny little bit of water to it. A little bit, just a Just a little bit. 1 drop. What will 1 drop of water do to this? Maybe it will open up the flavors. I don't think it will bring the ABV down much because it's a very strong one. Well, let's see if I can turn this sideways and get a few more drops out of the bottle. Oh, this is making the maltiness even stronger, I think. My first tiny little whiff was some of that earthy, grassy, heathery kind of thing. Now it's giving me tons of malt. Tons of malt that I didn't get before. Maybe even a little bit of milk chocolate. But that's a very subtle one. It was there for just an instant and this was gone. Do it again. Oh yeah. Still strong. It's still burning my nose hairs, but still it's carrying a lot of flavor for the ABV. This may be the true gem. Yeah, more malt on the nose than there was. A little bit of fudge too. Oh, that 1 drop made a difference. A little bit of chocolate fudge. A little more vanilla, but it's still very faint. I'm not getting a lot of caramel, but I'm getting that slight, that gentle chocolate fudge note, which I guess hinted at before I added any water to it. I noticed the chocolate. You know what chocolate it is? It's like a fudge and a little bit of Tootsie Roll. Hershey's Tootsie Roll. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, I'm even getting, Tootsie Roll. And maltiness. The maltiness is slowly turning to Tootsie Roll. I'm going to take another sip of it and then maybe add a little more water, see what happens. Oh. This is muy especial. Oh boy. Maltiness. It's very, very tasty, even though it's got such a high ABV. And I imagine that the high ABV is taking away from the flavor. So far, I like it. I'm going to get more adventurous with the water now. One-third of a spoon. With these high ABVs, it's so hard to get them right. You get more flavor neat with something bottled at 46 to 50%. It's not as malty as it was. I think maybe I'm just watering it down at this point. We'll see. This is a Speyside ex-bourbon. Now, if you have a Highland ex-bourbon or an Islay ex-bourbon, for me it works. But Speyside ex-bourbons typically don't have a lot of flavor, with notable exceptions like Balvenie. There was a Balvenie 14 single cask that I had 5 years ago, which was just amazing. Another one, even though a lot of people like to trash Jura, but Jura is not a Speyside. Ex-bourbon only maturation. The Jura Elixir was nice for that. It had a lot of flavor for an ex-bourbon. Wait, I'm getting some of that chocolate again. It's still there. The malt is not as strong as it was, and that Tootsie Roll chocolateness is coming in. Other examples of Speyside ex-bourbon barrel whiskeys that I have had are Altamore 12. And the Altamore didn't really do it for me. This is still, these droplets are still moving down slowly if you look. They're still kind of hanging right there if you look on my shoulder. Look at those drops, they're just sticking. Wow. Oh. Oh. Yes. Now I'm getting some of that. Oh. Some vanillas and caramels. But I'm also getting the alcohol, which is taking some of the flavor away. On the nose, chocolate fudge, maltiness, earthiness, grassiness, vanilla, slight hint of caramel. That's the thing with cask strength. You just have to take your sweet time with it and titrate. You have to add water just a little bit, and just a little bit, and just a little bit. This is turning out to be a fantastic experience. More Tootsie Roll. Wow. Mm. Oh. Tootsie Roll with just a little bit of caramel creeping in and a little bit of vanilla creeping in. Oh my goodness. This is heavenly stuff. Let's give it another half a spoon. See what happens with half a spoon. I don't think I'm at the sweet spot yet. I don't think I'm quite in the Goldilocks zone. It's still a little hot. It's still tingling the sides of my tongue and still coating the entire inside of my mouth. Oh, chocolate fudge. Mm. Mm. If this is any indication of what all the rest of GlenAllachie is about, I like GlenAllachie. And what a special dram this one is. Thanks again, Whiskey Jason. And thanks, Jason Whiskey Wise, for the glass. Ah. Yeah, this is just right. Just right on every level. Still, the alcohol is quite strong. It went up my nose from the inside and cleaned my sinuses out completely. I might have to blow my nose from that. Wow. And the flavors are just lovely. But it's still strong. I should have cleaned the last out of there. Not that there was much in my sinuses anyway, but if there was anything, that would have cleaned it out. Wowie kazowie. I know I'm taking my time with this, but when you start with cask strength and you try to get to the sweet spot, you try to get it dialed in just right, it takes a fair amount of patience, which I don't always have. But seeing as it's a Saturday and I have no place to go today, and I have nothing to do after this but sip whiskey and watch videos about sipping whiskey, and perhaps doing a little, we'll get to that when we get to that. By the time you see this, it would have been in the past anyway, by the nature of these whiskeys being uploaded and then scheduled for going public. Right now it is the 13th of July. It'll probably be the 20-something of July by the time you see this. Or later, it might be early August. I haven't checked. I'm not entirely sure. But now that I added some more water, I think that's what I did last. Taste. Oh, I think I got it now. I think I got the sweet spot of this whiskey where it doesn't burn. And it still has that Tootsie Roll chocolate, and it still has some maltiness. Too bad there isn't more of it. Oh, man. I think it's getting cloudy, too. Non-chill filtered. I might be down to the 33% or less alcohol by volume at this point. As it is getting cloudy. Non-chill filtered, naturally. So if this label is to be believed, it's 12 or 13 years old. It's a single cask. It's non-chill filtered. It's not colored. With the amount of water that I've added to it, it's just right. I get that Tootsie Roll and maltiness on the nose. It's not very fruity. There are subtle hints of caramel vanilla from the ex-bourbon barrel. It's not excessively complex, but it's very nice, very tasty. Now, I've waxed and waned poetic about this particular little dram for over half an hour. I don't know if this is setting a new record for me. Congratulations and kudos to all of you who have sat through the whole thing. And hopefully you've had a dram of GlenAllachie to sip with me. Or perhaps with the time I've spent on this, you've had a time to have 2 drams of great whiskey. Now there's another thing coming in, which I may have noticed but overlooked before. There's some pears too. There's a hint of pears on it now that I've brought the alcohol level down to such a point that it does not act as an anesthetic. But it's getting me, I feel it. I definitely feel the effects of the alcohol that's in here. I'm not exactly slurring my words, but I am hunting for words a little bit. You may have noticed me doing that earlier on in this video. Wow. Wow. Oh. Yes, there are pears now. But I had to get rid of all that alcohol. I had to move the alcohol aside to get to the pears. And it seems like that chocolate fudge Tootsie Roll note that I was getting has changed. Oh, it hasn't entirely changed. It's still there. That chocolate Tootsie Roll note is still there. But now it's joined by pears, which I wasn't getting earlier because the alcohol was so strong that I couldn't taste the pears. Now I taste them. Seeing as there's almost nothing left, Slanchala.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.